The most effective magic trick doesn't hide the truth. It distracts you from looking at it. Picture a master illusionist on stage. The audience watches intently as he raises his left hand, flourishing a silk handkerchief with theatrical precision. Every eye follows that bright fabric dancing in the spotlight, but the real magic happens in his right hand, hidden in shadow, quietly performing the impossible while no one is watching. This is misdirection, the art of making people look exactly where you want them to look, while the truth unfolds somewhere else entirely. In October 2019, something appeared in our cosmic theater. The Atlas telescope system detected an object moving through space with characteristics that seemed unusual. It was designated 3I Atlas, the third interstellar visitor to our solar system, or so some claimed. But here's where the story becomes strange. While astronomers around the world turned their instruments toward this phantom visitor, while forums buzzed with speculation about our latest cosmic guest, while media outlets prepared stories about humanity's third encounter with an interstellar wanderer, the object simply vanished into uncertainty. No confirmation, no follow-up observations, no definitive trajectory calculations. It was there and then it wasn't, like a magic trick performed in the darkness of space. Which raises an uncomfortable question. Was 3I Atlas truly an interstellar visitor making its way through our solar system? Or was it something else entirely? Perhaps the most sophisticated distraction ever performed on the cosmic stage. This isn't a story about conspiracy theories or hidden agendas. This is a story about something far more subtle and far more profound. It's about how we perceive reality itself, how we decide what deserves our attention, and how easy it is to miss the most important truths while we're staring at phantoms. The stage is set, the curtain has risen, and somewhere in the shadows between confirmed science and persistent mystery, the real performance has already begun. Every magic trick needs a prop, something tangible that the audience can focus on, something that gives weight to the illusion. In our cosmic theater, that prop was designated 3I Atlas. But what exactly was this object? The story begins with the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, known simply as ATLAS. This network of telescopes, operated by the University of Hawaii, scans the night sky with one primary mission: find potentially dangerous asteroids before they find us. It's a methodical, unglamorous job. Night after night, ATLAS telescopes photograph the same regions of space, comparing new images with previous ones, looking for anything that moves. On October 8, 2019, something moved. The detection appeared routine at first, a faint point of light traveling across the stellar background. But as astronomers examined its trajectory, something unusual emerged. The object seemed to be following a hyperbolic orbit. Not the elliptical path of an asteroid bound to our sun, but the open curve of something passing through. A hyperbolic orbit means it will never return. A true cosmic wanderer. This orbital signature is the calling card of interstellar objects, visitors from the vast spaces between stars, following trajectories that carry them through our solar system once and only once before returning to the cosmic deep. By 2019, astronomers had confirmed exactly two such objects: the elongated asteroid Oumuamua, discovered in 2017, the clearly cometary 2I Borisov, found just months before 3I Atlas appeared. So when Atlas detected this third object with apparent interstellar characteristics, it should have triggered a cascade of follow-up observations. Telescopes around the world should have turned toward this visitor. Spectrographs should have analyzed its composition. Radio telescopes should have listened for any unusual signals. But that cascade never came. Instead, 3I Atlas entered a strange limbo of astronomical uncertainty. Some databases listed it as a confirmed interstellar object. Others classified it as a long-period comet from our own Oort cloud. Still others marked it as unconfirmed or uncertain designation. The object that should have been our third confirmed interstellar visitor became instead a question mark floating in the darkness, present in some records, absent from others. Real enough to have a designation, uncertain enough to lack confirmation. It's as if the cosmic magician had made the object itself into a phantom, visible enough to be detected, elusive enough to avoid definitive classification, there when you look directly at it, gone when you try to examine it more closely. This uncertainty wasn't accidental. It wasn't the result of technical limitations or observational challenges. By 2019, our ability to track and characterize small objects in space had reached unprecedented levels. The same telescopes that found 3E Atlas had successfully tracked thousands of asteroids, confirmed the interstellar nature of Oumuamua and Borisov, and routinely monitored objects much fainter and more distant. Yet somehow, this particular object slipped through the cracks of confirmation. Which brings us to an uncomfortable possibility. What if 3I Atlas wasn't meant to be confirmed? What if its purpose wasn't to be studied, but simply to be noticed? To draw attention, create discussion, generate speculation, and then disappear, leaving behind only questions. What if 3I Atlas was never the real show at all? Before we can understand what makes 3I Atlas so strange, we need to examine what genuine interstellar visitors look like. We need to study the confirmed mysteries that have already graced our cosmic stage. October 19, 2017. The Pan-STARRS telescope in Hawaii detected something unprecedented. An object moving through the inner solar system on a clearly hyperbolic trajectory. Its speed and direction left. No doubt this was our first confirmed visitor from interstellar space. They named it Oumuamua, a Hawaiian word meaning scout, or messenger from afar arriving first. Oumuamua was strange from the beginning. As telescopes around the world turned toward this visitor, they revealed an object unlike anything in our solar system. Extremely elongated, perhaps 10 times longer than it was wide, dark red in color, tumbling end over end as it traveled, and most puzzling of all, it showed no signs of cometary activity despite passing close to the sun. This was not how interstellar objects were supposed to behave. Traditional models suggested that interstellar visitors would be icy bodies, similar to comets from our own Oort cloud. As they approached the sun, solar heating should have triggered outgassing, creating the characteristic tail that marks a comet. Oumuamua showed none of these features. It remained stubbornly asteroid-like, even as it experienced temperatures that should have vaporized any surface ice. Even stranger, careful analysis of its trajectory revealed something impossible. Oumuamua was accelerating away from the sun, but not in the way predicted by gravity alone. Something was pushing it, giving it a tiny but measurable boost in velocity. This non-gravitational acceleration sparked intense debate. Comets experience similar acceleration when outgassing creates a rocket effect. But Oumuamua showed no visible signs of outgassing. Some astronomers suggested it might be venting gas too faint to detect. Others proposed more exotic explanations, solar radiation pressure acting on an unusually flat object, or even artificial propulsion. The controversy deepened when Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb suggested that Oumuamua might be artificial, a piece of alien technology, perhaps a solar sail designed by an extraterrestrial civilization. The proposal was met with skepticism from most astronomers, but it captured public imagination and media attention. For 2 months, Oumuamua dominated astronomical headlines. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, it faded from view, disappearing into the outer solar system on its journey back to interstellar space. The phantom visitor left behind more questions than answers, and something else, an expectation that future interstellar visitors would be equally mysterious, equally controversial, equally capable of challenging our understanding of the cosmos. 2 years later, that expectation seemed confirmed when Gennady Borisov, an amateur astronomer in Crimea, discovered our second interstellar visitor. But 2I Borisov, as it came to be known, was different from its predecessor in almost every way. Where Oumuamua was dark and elongated, Borisov appeared roughly spherical and reflective. Where Oumuamua showed no cometary activity, Borisov immediately began developing a tail as it approached the sun. Where Oumuamua's composition remained mysterious, spectroscopic analysis of Borisov revealed familiar signatures of water vapor, carbon monoxide, and other compounds common in solar system comets. Borisov was, in many ways, exactly what astronomers had expected an interstellar visitor to be. A dirty snowball from another star system, behaving much like comets from our own Oort cloud. It followed predictable physics, displayed normal cometary activity, and yielded readily to scientific analysis. The contrast was striking. Our first interstellar visitor was a mystery wrapped in an enigma. Our second was almost disappointingly normal. One challenged our understanding of physics and sparked debates about alien technology. The other confirmed existing models and provided textbook examples of cometary behavior. Two visitors, two completely different stories, two very different reactions from both the scientific community and the public. Oumuamua generated hundreds of scientific papers, countless media articles, and ongoing debate about its true nature. Borisov, despite being equally unprecedented as an interstellar visitor, received far less attention. It was studied, catalogued, and filed away as an interesting but unsurprising example of interstellar material. The difference in response reveals something important about human psychology. We are drawn to mystery, controversy, and the unexplained. Normal, even when unprecedented, fails to capture our sustained attention. We want our cosmic visitors to be strange, to challenge our assumptions, to hint at deeper truths hidden in the darkness between stars. Which brings us back to 3I Atlas, an object that appeared to be our third interstellar visitor, but somehow never achieved the confirmation status of its predecessors. An object that generated initial excitement, but then faded into uncertainty. An object that seemed designed to occupy the space between confirmed reality and persistent speculation. Was 3I Atlas simply a detection error? A misidentified comet from our own solar system? A genuine interstellar visitor that somehow slipped through the cracks of scientific confirmation? Or was it something else entirely? Something designed to probe our psychological relationship with cosmic mystery itself? The art of misdirection relies on creating confusion about what is real and what is illusion. In the case of 3I Atlas, that confusion runs deeper than most people realize. To understand this confusion, we need to examine another object that appeared in our skies around the same time, an object with a remarkably similar name and an equally mysterious fate. In December 2019, just 2 months after 3I Atlas was first detected, astronomers discovered what appeared to be a new comet approaching the inner solar system. They designated it C2019Y4, but it's more commonly known by the survey that found it. Comet Atlas. Yes, Atlas. The same telescope system that had detected 3I Atlas just weeks earlier. Comet Atlas quickly became one of the most anticipated comets in decades. Early observations suggested it might become spectacularly bright, potentially visible to the naked eye, and rivaling some of the great comets in recorded history. Astronomy enthusiasts marked their calendars. Photographers prepared their equipment. Scientists planned detailed observation campaigns. But Comet Atlas never delivered on its promise. As it approached the Sun in early 2020, instead of growing brighter, it began to disintegrate. First, its nucleus split into multiple fragments. Then those fragments broke apart further, creating a spreading cloud of debris. By May 2020, what had once been a single bright comet had dissolved into a faint, dispersed cloud, barely visible even to professional telescopes. The breakup was dramatic and well documented. Hubble Space Telescope images showed the fragmentation process in stunning detail. Scientists analyzed the debris field, studied the breakup mechanism, and published papers on the comet's unusual fate. The story had a clear beginning, middle, and end. Promising comet that fell apart before reaching its full potential. But here's where the confusion begins. In popular discussions, amateur astronomy forums, and even some media reports, the stories of these two objects became entangled. 3I Atlas and Comet Atlas were both discovered by the same telescope system within months of each other. Both had mysterious or disappointing outcomes. Both left observers with more questions than answers. Some accounts conflated the two objects entirely. Others confuse their designations, their orbital characteristics, or their observational histories. The interstellar visitor that may never have been confirmed became mixed up with the promising comet that disintegrated before fulfilling its promise. This confusion wasn't accidental. It was built into the very structure of the story. Consider the naming convention. Both objects carried the Atlas designation. Both appeared during the same observational season. Both generated initial excitement followed by disappointment or uncertainty. The parallels were too perfect to be coincidental. It's as if someone wanted to create maximum confusion about which object was which story belonged to which object, and what actually happened in our cosmic theater during those crucial months. But why would anyone want to create such confusion? What purpose could be served by muddying the waters around these celestial discoveries? Perhaps the answer lies in the nature of attention itself. When multiple, similar stories emerge simultaneously, the public's focus becomes divided, details become blurred, critical analysis becomes more difficult, and in that confusion, other things can happen unnoticed. While amateur astronomers debated the fate of Comet Atlas and professional astronomers struggled to confirm the nature of 3I Atlas, what else was happening in space? What other discoveries were being made? What other observations were being conducted? The confusion created a kind of informational static, making it harder to track the full picture of astronomical activity during that period. And in the world of space observation, where international cooperation is essential but national interests sometimes conflict, such confusion can serve strategic purposes. Some researchers have suggested that the 3I Atlas incident was a test, not a test of our detection capabilities or our scientific methods, but a test of our information processing systems. How quickly would the astronomical community recognize an uncertain detection? How would that uncertainty propagate through databases and publications? How would the public react to conflicting information about cosmic visitors? If so, it was a remarkably successful test. The confusion persists to this day. Official databases still carry conflicting information about 3I Atlas. Some list it as a confirmed interstellar object. Others mark it as unconfirmed. Still others have quietly removed it from their catalogues entirely. The object exists in a quantum state of astronomical uncertainty, neither fully confirmed nor definitively debunked, present in some records, absent from others, real enough to discuss, uncertain enough to doubt. This uncertainty isn't a bug in the system. It's a feature, a carefully designed feature that serves purposes we're only beginning to understand. Every magic trick has constraints. The magician must work within the laws of physics, the limitations of human perception, and the boundaries of the performance space. Our cosmic theater has similar constraints, and understanding them reveals why objects like 3I Atlas can exist in states of permanent uncertainty. The challenge of detecting interstellar visitors begins with basic geometry. These objects approach our solar system from random directions at incredible speeds. By the time they're close enough to detect, they're already racing through the inner solar system on their way back to interstellar space. We have a narrow window of opportunity to spot them, characterize them, and confirm their nature before they disappear forever into the cosmic dark. Consider the numbers. Oumuamua was first detected when it was already outbound from the Sun, moving at over 40 kilometers per second. From discovery to the point where it became too faint to observe took less than 2 months. During that brief window, every major telescope on Earth and in space turned toward this visitor, gathering as much data as possible before it vanished. But even with this concentrated effort, crucial questions about Oumuamua remain unanswered. Its exact composition, the cause of its non-gravitational acceleration, and its ultimate origin all remain matters of scientific debate. If we can't fully characterize objects that receive intensive study, how much harder is it to confirm the nature of objects that slip through the observational net? This is where the limitations of our detection systems become critical. The Atlas Telescope network, despite its impressive capabilities, is designed primarily to find potentially hazardous asteroids. It scans large areas of sky relatively quickly, looking for moving objects against the stellar background. But this survey strategy comes with trade-offs. Objects detected by Atlas receive only brief observation sessions. A few data points across several nights might be enough to determine that something is moving, but not necessarily enough to calculate a precise orbit or confirm interstellar origin. For definitive confirmation, objects need follow-up observations by other telescopes, detailed astrometric measurements, and sometimes months of tracking. This follow-up process is where 3I Atlas seems to have fallen through the cracks. Unlike Oumuamua and Borisov, which triggered immediate international observing campaigns, 3I Atlas never received the concentrated attention necessary for definitive confirmation. The question is why? One possibility is simple: prioritization. October 2019 was a busy time for astronomy. Telescopes around the world were tracking multiple interesting objects, including the newly discovered Borisov. Resources were limited, observing time was precious, and decisions had to be made about which targets deserved priority attention. But this explanation feels incomplete. By 2019, the discovery of interstellar visitors was recognized as one of the most important developments in solar system astronomy. The scientific community had established protocols for rapid follow-up of potential interstellar objects. The infrastructure was in place, the expertise was available, and the motivation was certainly present. Yet somehow, 3I Atlas didn't trigger this response. It remained in observational limbo, generating just enough interest to receive a designation, but not enough to achieve confirmation. This suggests a more sophisticated explanation. Perhaps 3I Atlas was designed to test the boundaries of our detection and confirmation systems, to probe the gap between initial detection and definitive confirmation, to explore the space where objects can exist in states of astronomical uncertainty. Such a test would reveal important information about our observational capabilities and limitations. It would map the blind spots in our detection networks, the weaknesses in our follow-up protocols, and the thresholds required for scientific confirmation. This information could be valuable for various purposes, both scientific and strategic. But who would conduct such a test and why? The answer might lie in the increasingly complex political and strategic dimensions of space observation. Modern astronomy is conducted by international networks of telescopes, databases, and research institutions. Information flows across borders, observations are shared between nations, and discoveries become global scientific commons almost instantly. But this openness also creates vulnerabilities. If you wanted to understand how quickly the global astronomical community responds to potential threats or unusual discoveries, how would you do it? If you wanted to map the information-sharing networks that connect observatories around the world, how would you probe those connections? One way would be to introduce a carefully crafted phantom into the system, an object real enough to trigger detection, but ambiguous enough to test response protocols, an object that probes the boundaries between confirmed science and persistent speculation. 3I Atlas fits this profile perfectly. It was detected by one of the world's most capable survey systems. It displayed characteristics suggestive of interstellar origin. It generated initial interest and discussion, but it never achieved the confirmation status that would have made it a permanent part of the astronomical record. This uncertainty serves multiple purposes. It tests our detection systems, maps our information networks, and explores our psychological responses to cosmic ambiguity. But perhaps most importantly, it demonstrates how easy it is to create lasting confusion in the space between initial detection and final confirmation. In the cosmic theater, this is called misdirection, the art of making the audience look exactly where you want them to look, while the real performance happens somewhere else entirely. In the shadowy space between confirmed science and persistent mystery, theories multiply like ghosts in the darkness. Some emerge from careful scientific reasoning. Others arise from pattern recognition run wild, and a few seem designed to test the boundaries between rational skepticism and conspiratorial thinking. The most persistent theory about 3I Atlas doesn't concern its astronomical nature at all. Instead, It focuses on its timing, its ambiguous status, and its role in what some observers call cosmic distraction warfare. This theory begins with a simple observation. In the months surrounding the 3I Atlas detection, several significant developments occurred in space-related military and intelligence activities. New satellite launches, classified missions, and orbital maneuvers that received little public attention while astronomers debated the nature of phantom visitors. Some suggest this wasn't coincidental. They propose that 3I Atlas was deliberately introduced into the observational record as a distraction, drawing attention away from more sensitive space activities. The object's ambiguous status was a feature, not a bug, designed to generate ongoing discussion and speculation while other operations proceeded unnoticed. This theory connects to larger ideas about information warfare and strategic deception. In an era where space activities are increasingly militarized and commercialized, the ability to control public attention and scientific focus becomes strategically valuable. What better way to distract the astronomical community than with a mysterious visitor that requires careful study but never yields definitive answers? But this terrestrial explanation, while intriguing, may miss the deeper implications of the 3I Atlas phenomenon. Other theories venture into more speculative territory, connecting the phantom visitor to larger questions about extraterrestrial intelligence and cosmic communication. One such theory draws on the dark forest hypothesis, popularized by Chinese author Liu Cixin in his science fiction trilogy. The hypothesis suggests that the universe is filled with civilizations that remain hidden because revealing their existence invites destruction by more advanced species. In this cosmic dark forest, survival depends on invisibility and silence. According to this interpretation, 3I Atlas might represent a probe from such a hidden civilization. Not an attempt at open communication, but a subtle test of our detection and analysis capabilities. The object's ambiguous nature would be deliberate, designed to gather information about our technological sophistication without revealing its true origin or purpose. The probe would operate by appearing just real enough to trigger our detection systems, but remaining ambiguous enough to avoid definitive classification. This would allow it to study our response protocols, map our observational networks, and assess our level of technological development, all while maintaining plausible deniability about its artificial nature. This theory gains some credibility from the specific characteristics of 3I Atlas. Its detection by the Atlas system, which is primarily designed to find potentially hazardous objects, would provide valuable intelligence about our planetary defense capabilities. Its ambiguous orbital classification would test our ability to distinguish between natural and artificial objects, and its ultimate disappearance into uncertainty would prevent detailed analysis that might reveal artificial characteristics. Even more speculative theories connect 3I Atlas to Project Bluebeam, a purported government program allegedly designed to simulate an alien invasion or contact scenario. According to these theories, 3I Atlas was a test run for more elaborate deceptions, designed to gauge public and scientific reaction to anomalous space objects. Project Bluebeam, it should be noted, is not a confirmed program. It exists primarily in conspiracy theory literature and online forums, but the idea that governments might use space-based deceptions for strategic purposes isn't entirely implausible. In an era of increasing space militarization and information warfare, the ability to create convincing false cosmic events could serve various political and strategic objectives. These theories, whether terrestrial or extraterrestrial in focus, share common themes. They all propose that 3I Atlas was artificial rather than natural. They all suggest that its ambiguous status was intentional rather than accidental, and they all frame the object as a probe or test of human capabilities and responses. But perhaps the most sophisticated theory about 3I Atlas doesn't concern its origin at all. Instead, it focuses on its function as what philosophers might call an ontological probe, a phenomenon designed to test our fundamental assumptions about reality, truth, and knowledge. According to this interpretation, 3I Atlas serves as a kind of epistemological mirror, reflecting back our own cognitive biases and limitations. Its ambiguous nature, forces us to confront the boundaries of scientific knowledge and the role of uncertainty in human understanding. It exists in the space between fact and speculation, between confirmation and doubt, between the known and the unknowable. This perspective suggests that 3I Atlas might be less important as an object than as an experience. Its value lies not in what it is, but in what it reveals about how we process ambiguous information, how we draw boundaries between science and speculation, and how we respond when confronted with phenomena that resist easy classification. From this viewpoint, the debates about 3I Atlas are themselves the phenomenon of interest. The way different communities responded to its detection, the patterns of information flow and distortion that emerged around it, and the persistence of uncertainty despite abundant technological capabilities all become data points in a larger experiment about human cognition and collective sense-making. Whether this experiment is being conducted by extraterrestrial intelligences, terrestrial agencies, or the universe itself remains an open question, but the results are clear. 3I Atlas has successfully probed the boundaries between science and speculation, between confirmed knowledge and persistent mystery, between what we can know and what we can only wonder about. In the cosmic theater, this is called revelation through misdirection. The most profound truths emerge not from what the magician shows you directly, but from your own response to the performance. The most sophisticated magic tricks don't just manipulate objects on stage, they manipulate the minds of the audience. They exploit cognitive biases, perceptual limitations, and the fundamental ways human beings process information. In the case of 3I Atlas, the psychological dimensions of the phenomenon may be more revealing than its astronomical characteristics. Consider how our minds respond to mysterious objects in space. Since childhood, we are conditioned to expect that space is full of wonders, that cosmic visitors carry profound significance, and that contact with extraterrestrial intelligence represents humanity's ultimate destiny. These expectations create what psychologists call motivated reasoning, our tendency to interpret ambiguous information in ways that confirm our existing beliefs and desires. When Atlas detected an object with potentially interstellar characteristics, it triggered these deep-seated psychological patterns. Forums filled with speculation about alien technology. Media outlets prepared stories about humanity's third interstellar visitor. Amateur astronomers around the world pointed telescopes toward the coordinates, hoping to glimpse this cosmic messenger. But 3I Atlas never delivered on these expectations. Instead, it remained stubbornly ambiguous, neither confirming our hopes for cosmic contact, nor definitively debunking them. It occupied a psychological space that's particularly uncomfortable for human minds. The realm of permanent uncertainty. This uncertainty creates what cognitive scientists call cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort we experience when confronted with information that doesn't fit our existing frameworks. Most people resolve this discomfort by either accepting or rejecting ambiguous phenomena. They decide that uncertain objects are either real or fake, significant or irrelevant, worth attention or worth ignoring. But 3I Atlas resists this binary classification. It remains poised between confirmation and debunking, between significance and irrelevance, between attention and neglect. This sustained ambiguity serves as a kind of psychological stress test, revealing how different individuals and communities respond to unresolved mysteries. Some respond by embracing the uncertainty, treating 3I Atlas as a genuine puzzle worth continued investigation. These individuals tend to be comfortable with ambiguity and skeptical of easy answers. They see the object's undefined status as evidence of the complexity and mystery that still surrounds us. Others respond by dismissing the entire phenomenon, treating 3I Atlas as a detection error, misidentification, or hoax. These individuals tend to prefer clear categories and definitive answers. They see the object's ambiguous status as evidence that it probably never existed at all. Still others respond by filling the uncertainty with speculation, creating elaborate theories about the object's origin, nature, and significance. These individuals tend to be pattern seekers who find meaningful connections in seemingly random events. They see the object's mysterious characteristics as clues to larger truths about the cosmos, technology, or hidden agendas. Each of these responses reveals different aspects of human psychology and different strategies for coping with cosmic mystery. But they also reveal something more subtle: how easily our attention can be captured and directed by phenomena that exist in the borderlands between fact and speculation. This capturing of attention isn't accidental. Attention is one of the most valuable resources in the modern world. Wars are fought over it, fortunes are made from it, and political power flows through it. The ability to direct collective attention toward specific phenomena while diverting it from others represents a form of influence that operates below the threshold of conscious awareness. 3i Atlas demonstrates this principle perfectly. While astronomers debated its nature, while forums buzzed with speculation about its origin, while media outlets crafted stories about mysterious cosmic visitors, what else was happening in space? What other activities were proceeding without scrutiny or discussion? The phantom visitor created what intelligence analysts call a cognitive bottleneck, a phenomenon that consumes disproportionate mental resources relative to its actual importance. Like a traffic accident that causes miles of delays. While drivers slow down to look, 3i Atlas created a kind of intellectual rubbernecking that diverted attention from other space-related activities. But the psychological effects of 3i Atlas extend beyond simple distraction. The phenomenon also functions as what philosophers call an existential probe, a challenge to our fundamental assumptions about reality, knowledge, and our place in the universe. The existence of ambiguous phenomena like 3i Atlas forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about the limits of human knowledge. If we can't definitively determine the nature of objects in our own solar system, how can we claim to understand the broader cosmos? If our most sophisticated detection systems can be confused by phantom visitors, what other mysteries might be hiding in plain sight? These questions strike at the heart of the Enlightenment project that underlies modern science. The belief that reality is knowable, that systematic observation can reveal truth, and that human intelligence is capable of comprehending the natural world. 3i Atlas suggests that these assumptions might be more fragile than we'd like to believe. Perhaps most unsettling, the phenomenon raises questions about agency and intentionality in cosmic events. Natural objects don't deliberately create confusion or test our psychological responses. They simply exist, following physical laws and displaying measurable characteristics. But 3i Atlas seems almost designed to probe our cognitive limitations and challenge our epistemological assumptions. This apparent intentionality behind the phenomenon forces us to consider possibilities that challenge our worldview. Either 3i Atlas represents a remarkable cosmic coincidence, a natural object that happened to display characteristics perfectly suited to creating maximum confusion and uncertainty, or it represents something else entirely, something that understands human psychology well enough to exploit our cognitive biases and perceptual limitations. The implications of either possibility are profound. If 3i Atlas is purely natural, it suggests that the universe is far stranger and more psychologically challenging than we've previously imagined. If it's artificial, it suggests that we're dealing with intelligence sophisticated enough to conduct psychological operations on a civilization scale. In the cosmic theater, this is the ultimate magic trick. Not just making objects appear and disappear, but making us question the very nature of appearance and disappearance, reality and illusion, knowledge and ignorance. The phantom visitor forces us to confront a disturbing possibility, that we might be less the observers of cosmic phenomena than the subjects of cosmic observation. In the digital age, information itself has become a battlefield. Nations compete to control narratives, shape perceptions, and influence decision-making through sophisticated campaigns that blur the lines between truth and deception. The key phenomenon of 3i Atlas, viewed through this lens, reveals disturbing possibilities about the weaponization of cosmic mystery. Consider the strategic value of controlling astronomical information. Space-based assets have become critical infrastructure for modern civilization. Satellites provide communications, navigation, weather forecasting, and intelligence gathering. Any nation or organization seeking to understand, disrupt, or exploit these systems would benefit from detailed knowledge of global space surveillance capabilities. How would such knowledge be gathered? Traditional intelligence methods, infiltrating observatories, recruiting astronomers, intercepting communications, carry significant risks and limitations. But introducing phantom objects into the cosmic theater offers a subtler approach. By creating phenomena that trigger systematic responses from the global astronomical community, observers can map detection networks, measure response times, and identify key decision-makers without ever revealing their intentions. 3i Atlas fits this profile perfectly. Its detection by the Atlas system immediately revealed the capabilities and limitations of this critical survey network. The subsequent lack of follow-up observations exposed weaknesses in international coordination protocols. The conflicting database entries demonstrated how information flows and distorts as it moves through scientific institutions. All of this intelligence could be gathered simply by monitoring public astronomical databases, publications, and communications. No infiltration required, no classified information accessed, just careful observation of how the global astronomical community responds to ambiguous phenomena. But the intelligence value of 3i Atlas extends beyond technical capabilities to psychological and cultural characteristics. The phenomenon serves as what military strategists call a social network probe, a mechanism for mapping relationships, influence, patterns, and information flow within target communities. By analyzing who responded to 3i Atlas, how quickly they responded, what resources they allocated, and how their responses influenced others, observers could construct detailed maps of the global astronomical community. These maps would reveal key institutions, influential individuals, communication pathways, and decision-making processes that might prove valuable for future operations. The information gathered from such probing could serve multiple strategic purposes. Nations developing anti-satellite capabilities would benefit from understanding how quickly space surveillance networks can detect and track new objects. Organizations planning orbital activities would value intelligence about international monitoring systems and response protocols. Even commercial entities might find such information useful for competitive analysis and market positioning. This strategic dimension of 3i Atlas connects to larger concerns about the militarization of space and the emergence of what defense analysts call gray zone operations, activities that fall below the threshold of open conflict but serve strategic objectives through persistent, low-level challenges to adversary capabilities and perceptions. Gray zone operations in space might include subtle interference with satellites, introduction of debris or phantom objects, manipulation of tracking data, or creation of ambiguous phenomena that probe defensive responses. These activities would be designed to remain below attribution thresholds while gathering intelligence and testing capabilities. 3i Atlas could represent a sophisticated example of such gray zone operations, ambiguous enough to avoid definitive attribution, significant enough to trigger systematic responses, persistent enough to gather useful intelligence over extended periods. The perfect probe for mapping global space surveillance capabilities without crossing any clear red lines. But the information warfare implications of 3i Atlas extend beyond intelligence gathering to what cognitive scientists call epistemic warfare, attacks on society's ability to distinguish truth from falsehood, fact from speculation, reliable information from deliberate disinformation. The phantom visitor creates lasting uncertainty about basic facts. Did 3i Atlas exist? Was it natural or artificial? Was it confirmed or debunked? Different databases provide different answers. Different experts offer conflicting opinions. Different communities reach different conclusions. This uncertainty isn't just confusing, it's corrosive to institutional trust and epistemic confidence. If we can't agree on basic facts about objects detected by our most sophisticated instruments, How can we trust larger claims about cosmic phenomena, space threats, or orbital activities? The erosion of epistemic confidence serves strategic purposes for any actor seeking to operate in ambiguous environments. When societies lose confidence in their ability to distinguish truth from deception, they become more vulnerable to manipulation, less capable of coordinated responses, and more likely to fragment into competing interpretations of reality. 3i Atlas demonstrates how easily such epistemic warfare can be conducted in the space domain. The phenomenon required no advanced technology, no cyber attacks, no direct interference with critical systems. It simply introduced a carefully crafted ambiguity into the information environment and allowed natural psychological and institutional processes to amplify that ambiguity into lasting confusion. The genius of this approach lies in its exploitation of scientific methodology itself. Science depends on reproducible observations, peer review, and gradual consensus building. But these same processes can be weaponized by introducing phenomena that resist easy classification and definitive resolution. When scientists encounter ambiguous data, they naturally seek additional observations, propose competing hypotheses, and engage in extended debates. These normal scientific processes, when applied to deliberately ambiguous phenomena, create exactly the kind of sustained uncertainty and attention capture that serves strategic purposes. The result is a form of cognitive jujitsu that turns the strength of scientific institutions against themselves. The more rigorously scientists attempt to study ambiguous phenomena like 3i Atlas, the more attention and resources they divert from other activities. The more honestly they acknowledge uncertainty about these phenomena, the more they undermine public confidence in scientific authority. This weaponization of scientific methodology represents a new frontier in information warfare. Traditional disinformation campaigns require constant effort to maintain false narratives against contrary evidence. But epistemic warfare through ambiguous phenomena creates self-sustaining confusion that requires minimal, ongoing input while generating maximum cognitive disruption. The implications for space security are profound. If adversaries can create lasting confusion about basic facts concerning objects in space, they can operate more freely in ambiguous environments, exploit epistemic uncertainty for strategic advantage, and undermine the shared factual foundation necessary for international cooperation in space. But perhaps most concerning, the 3i Atlas phenomenon suggests that such epistemic warfare might already be underway. The phantom visitor may represent not just a single probe of our capabilities and responses, but the opening move in a larger campaign designed to map, test, and ultimately exploit the vulnerabilities in our collective sense-making systems. In the cosmic theater, information warfare doesn't require advanced alien technology or sophisticated cyber weapons. It simply requires understanding human psychology well enough to create phenomena that exploit our cognitive biases, institutional limitations, and epistemological blind spots. The magician's greatest trick isn't making objects disappear. It's making us uncertain about what we've actually seen. The phantom visitor forces us to confront questions that extend far beyond astronomy into the deepest regions of human understanding. What does it mean to know something? How do we distinguish between reality and perception? And what happens when the universe itself seems designed to resist our attempts at comprehension? These aren't merely academic questions. They strike at the foundation of the scientific worldview that has guided human civilization for centuries, the belief that reality is observable, measurable, and ultimately comprehensible through systematic investigation. 3i Atlas challenges each of these assumptions in subtle but profound ways. Consider the problem of observation. Modern astronomy depends on the principle that celestial phenomena exist independently of our awareness of them. Stars shine whether or not we observe them. Planets orbit whether or not we track them. Interstellar visitors traverse space whether or not we detect them. But 3i Atlas seems to exist primarily in the act of observation itself. It appears when detected, disappears when studied more closely, and persists mainly in the ambiguous space between confirmation and debunking. This observer-dependent existence echoes some of the strangest aspects of quantum mechanics, where the act of measurement seems to influence the reality being measured. Could cosmic phenomena display quantum-like characteristics at macroscopic scales? Some physicists have proposed that consciousness itself might play a fundamental role in determining physical reality. If so, objects like 3I Atlas might represent examples of consciousness-mediated phenomena that exist in superposition states between reality and illusion until the act of observation collapses them into one state or another. This interpretation suggests that the universe might be far stranger than even our most advanced physics indicates. Rather than consisting of objective phenomena that exist independently of observation, reality might be fundamentally participatory, requiring conscious observers to actualize potential events into definite outcomes. From this perspective, 3I Atlas isn't just a phantom visitor from interstellar space. It's a messenger from the deepest levels of reality itself, carrying information about the fundamental relationship between consciousness and cosmos. But even if we reject such radical interpretations, 3I Atlas raises profound questions about the nature of scientific knowledge. The scientific method depends on the assumption that repeated observations of similar phenomena will yield consistent results. Yet 3I Atlas seems designed to resist such repetition, appearing once and then fading into uncertainty before definitive studies can be completed. This unreproducibility isn't just inconvenient, it's epistemologically challenging. How can we build reliable knowledge about phenomena that resist systematic study? How can we distinguish between genuine cosmic mysteries and elaborate deceptions? How can we maintain confidence in scientific methodology when confronted with phenomena that seem to exploit the limitations of that methodology? These questions connect to larger philosophical problems that have puzzled thinkers for millennia. The problem of induction. How can we generalize from limited observations to universal principles? The problem of other minds. How can we know that other beings experience reality as we do? The problem of external reality. How can we distinguish between perception and the things being perceived? 3I Atlas embodies all of these classical philosophical puzzles in concrete form. It challenges our ability to generalize from observations by remaining unique and unrepeatable. It raises questions about other minds by suggesting the possibility of intelligence behind its ambiguous characteristics. It forces us to question external reality by existing primarily in the contested space between perception and confirmation. Perhaps most unsettling, the phenomenon suggests that the universe might contain intelligence sophisticated enough to understand and exploit these philosophical vulnerabilities. The precise targeting of human cognitive limitations displayed by 3I Atlas implies a deep understanding of consciousness, perception, and knowledge that rivals or exceeds our own philosophical sophistication. This possibility opens disturbing questions about the relationship between human intelligence and cosmic intelligence. We've long assumed that consciousness is rare in the universe, that intelligence emerges only under special conditions, and that we represent one of the universe's first tentative steps towards self-awareness. But what if consciousness is far more common than we've imagined? What if intelligence operates at scales and in ways we haven't recognized? What if the universe itself displays characteristics that we associate with mind, intention, and purpose? 3I Atlas might represent evidence for what philosophers call panpsychism, the theory that consciousness is a fundamental feature of reality, present at all levels, from elementary particles to cosmic structures. From this perspective, the phantom visitor isn't an artificial probe created by extraterrestrial intelligence, but a manifestation of the universe's own inherent mentality. This interpretation reframes the entire phenomenon. Instead of asking whether 3I Atlas was natural or artificial, we might ask whether that distinction makes sense in a universe where mind and matter are fundamentally intertwined. Instead of wondering who created this apparent test of human capabilities, we might wonder whether the universe itself is conducting experiments in consciousness and cognition. Such ideas push us toward the edges of both science and philosophy, into territories where empirical investigation merges with speculative metaphysics. But perhaps that's exactly where 3i Atlas is designed to take us. Perhaps the phantom visitor serves as a kind of philosophical catalyst, forcing us to examine assumptions we normally take for granted and consider possibilities we typically dismiss. In this reading, the true significance of 3i Atlas isn't astronomical but existential. It challenges us to question not just what we know about space, but how we know anything at all. It forces us to confront the possibility that reality might be far stranger, far more participatory, and far more conscious than our current worldview allows. The cosmic theater becomes not just a stage for physical phenomena, but an arena where consciousness encounters itself at the deepest levels, where observer and observed, knower and known, self and cosmos reveal themselves to be aspects of a single, unfolding mystery. In such a universe, phantom visitors might be less alien intrusions than cosmic mirrors, reflecting back our own deepest questions about the nature of existence, knowledge, and reality itself. Step back from the details, the technical discussions, and the competing theories. Look at the larger pattern emerging from our investigation of 3i Atlas. What we discover isn't just a story about a mysterious object in space, but a revelation about the nature of cosmic theater itself. The universe, it seems, is far more theatrical than we've previously imagined, not in the sense of being artificial or staged, but in the sense of being performative, interactive, and responsive to observation. Like a sophisticated dramatic production, cosmic phenomena seem designed to engage observers, provoke responses, and generate meaning through the act of witnessing. 3i Atlas exemplifies this theatrical quality. It appeared precisely when and how it needed to appear to generate maximum impact. It displayed exactly the right combination of characteristics to trigger both scientific interest and persistent uncertainty. It existed for exactly the right duration to gather intelligence about human responses while avoiding definitive analysis. This precision of timing and characteristics suggests something that challenges our fundamental assumptions about how the universe operates. We're accustomed to thinking of cosmic phenomena as the result of mindless physical processes: gravity, thermodynamics, electromagnetic interactions. Objects move through space following predictable laws, displaying measurable properties, behaving according to mathematical principles that care nothing for human psychology or social dynamics. But 3i Atlas seems to operate according to different principles: psychological principles, social principles, dramatic principles that prioritize meaning-making over mechanical causation. This doesn't necessarily imply artificial intelligence or extraterrestrial intervention. It might instead reveal something more fundamental about the relationship between consciousness and cosmos. Perhaps the universe isn't as mindless as we've assumed. Perhaps intelligence, purpose, and meaning are more deeply embedded in physical reality than our current scientific paradigms recognize. From this perspective, 3i Atlas represents what we might call a cosmic synchronicity, a meaningful coincidence that reveals hidden connections between inner and outer reality, between psychological and physical phenomena, between human consciousness and cosmic processes. Carl Jung, who coined the term synchronicity, suggested that meaningful coincidences reveal a causal connecting principle that operates alongside causation to create patterns of significance in human experience. Perhaps 3i Atlas represents synchronicity operating at a cosmic scale, revealing connections between human psychological needs and cosmic phenomena that transcend simple cause and effect. Relationships. This interpretation suggests that the universe might be naturally responsive to consciousness in ways that conventional science doesn't recognize, not through supernatural intervention or artificial intelligence, but through subtle feedback loops between observation and reality that operate below the threshold of current scientific detection. Quantum mechanics hints at such feedback loops in its fundamental structure. The measurement problem in quantum theory suggests that consciousness might play a crucial role in determining physical outcomes. But most physicists limit this consciousness-reality interaction to microscopic scales, assuming that macroscopic phenomena operate according to classical physics, where observation doesn't influence outcomes. 3i Atlas challenges this assumption. It suggests that consciousness-reality interactions might operate at much larger scales than we've previously imagined, creating cosmic phenomena that respond to psychological states, cultural contexts, and collective human needs. If so, the phantom visitor might represent something unprecedented in human experience, a cosmic phenomenon specifically generated by and responsive to our collective psychological relationship with space, mystery, and the unknown. This possibility reframes our entire investigation. Instead of asking whether 3i Atlas was natural or artificial, we might ask whether it represents a new category of phenomenon entirely, something that emerges from the interaction between consciousness and cosmos, between human observation and cosmic possibility, between our deepest psychological needs and the universe's apparent capacity to respond to those needs. Such phenomena would be neither purely physical nor purely mental, but something that transcends this classical distinction. They would exist in the liminal space between observer and observed, between inner experience and outer reality, between psychology and physics. This liminal quality explains many of the puzzling characteristics of 3i Atlas. Its resistance to definitive classification, its observer-dependent existence, its precise targeting of human cognitive limitations, and its function as both distraction and revelation all make sense if we understand it as a consciousness-cosmos interaction, rather than a purely physical object. But this interpretation raises profound questions about the nature of reality itself. If the universe can generate phenomena that respond to human psychological states and cultural contexts, what does this say about the relationship between mind and matter? If cosmic events can display characteristics that seem designed to engage human consciousness, what does this suggest about the role of observation in determining physical outcomes? These questions push us toward a more participatory understanding of reality. Instead of seeing ourselves as passive observers of an objective universe, we might need to recognize our role as active participants in a cosmic drama, where consciousness and cosmos co-create the phenomena we experience. From this perspective, 3i Atlas isn't just an object to be studied, but a partner in an ongoing dialogue between human consciousness and cosmic intelligence. Its ambiguous characteristics aren't flaws to be resolved, but features designed to maintain this dialogue across the boundaries of scientific certainty. The phantom visitor becomes a kind of cosmic koan, a riddle designed not to be solved, but to transform the consciousness that engages with it. Its true purpose isn't to provide information about interstellar objects or extraterrestrial intelligence, but to catalyze a deeper understanding of the participatory relationship between observer and cosmos. In the cosmic theater, we're discovering that we're not just audience members watching a performance. We're co-creators of the drama itself, participants in an ongoing improvisation between consciousness and cosmos that generates the very phenomena we seek to understand. The curtain hasn't fallen on this performance. It's still rising, revealing ever deeper levels of the cosmic theater, where human consciousness encounters the mystery of its own cosmic context. As our investigation draws toward its conclusion, we must confront an uncomfortable truth about 3i Atlas. We know almost exactly as much about it now as we did when we began. Despite extensive analysis, careful reasoning, and exploration of multiple possibilities, the phantom visitor remains stubbornly mysterious. This persistence of mystery isn't accidental. It's one of the most significant characteristics of the phenomenon itself. 3i Atlas seems designed to resist resolution, to maintain its ambiguous status regardless of how much attention and analysis it receives. Consider how different this is from typical scientific mysteries. When astronomers first detected Oumuamua, it raised immediate questions about its unusual characteristics, but intensive study gradually revealed answers. Spectroscopic analysis determined its composition. Careful tracking measured its trajectory. Detailed modeling explained its non-gravitational acceleration. While some questions remain, the broad outlines of Oumuamua's nature became clear through systematic investigation. 3i Atlas follows a different pattern. The more we examine it, the more mysterious it becomes. Attempts to clarify its status only reveal additional layers of ambiguity. Efforts to resolve its nature generate new questions faster than they answer old ones. This characteristic suggests that 3i Atlas might belong to a different category of phenomenon entirely. Not a scientific puzzle waiting to be solved, but what philosophers call an essential mystery, something that reveals deeper truths through its very resistance to explanation. Essential mysteries aren't problems to be solved, but realities to be encountered. They don't yield their secrets to analysis, because their secrets lie not in what they are, but in what they reveal about the nature of mystery itself. From this perspective, the persistent ambiguity of 3i Atlas becomes its most important feature. The Phantom Visitor serves as a concrete example of how mystery operates in our cosmic context. It demonstrates that some aspects of reality might be fundamentally resistant to the kind of definitive resolution that science normally seeks. This resistance to resolution has profound implications for our understanding of knowledge itself. The scientific revolution was built on the premise that systematic investigation could gradually eliminate mystery from our understanding of the natural world. Francis Bacon's vision of science involved conquering nature through knowledge, transforming the unknown into the known through careful observation and experimentation. But 3i Atlas suggests that mystery might be more fundamental to reality than this Baconian vision acknowledges. Perhaps some aspects of the cosmos are inherently mysterious, not because we lack sufficient knowledge or sophisticated enough instruments, but because mystery is woven into the fabric of existence itself. This possibility connects to ancient philosophical traditions that viewed mystery not as an obstacle to understanding, but as a doorway to deeper wisdom. In these traditions, the goal of investigation wasn't to eliminate mystery, but to develop a more sophisticated relationship with it, to learn how to dwell productively in the space between knowing and not knowing, between certainty and doubt, between revelation and concealment. 3i Atlas might represent a cosmic invitation to develop such sophistication. Its persistent ambiguity forces us to move beyond simple binary classifications of real versus fake, confirmed versus debunked, significant versus irrelevant. It challenges us to develop more nuanced ways of engaging with phenomena that exist in the liminal spaces between these categories. This development isn't just intellectually interesting, it's practically necessary for navigating an increasingly complex and ambiguous world. As technology advances and global systems become more interconnected, we encounter growing numbers of phenomena that resist easy classification. Artificial intelligence systems whose decision-making processes remain opaque, financial instruments whose risks are impossible to calculate precisely, climate systems whose behaviors emerge from countless interacting variables. Learning to engage productively with mystery becomes a crucial skill for thriving in such environments, and 3i Atlas provides an ideal training ground for developing this skill. It offers a concrete example of how to maintain intellectual rigor while acknowledging fundamental uncertainties, how to gather and analyze evidence while remaining open to multiple interpretations, how to engage seriously with ambiguous phenomena without demanding premature closure. But perhaps most importantly, 3i Atlas demonstrates that mystery itself might be a source of value rather than merely an obstacle to overcome. The Phantom Visitor has generated extensive discussion, creative theorizing, and deep reflection on fundamental questions about consciousness, knowledge, and reality. These conversations and insights emerged not despite the object's mysterious nature, but because of it. A definitively resolved 3i Atlas would have been filed away in astronomical databases and forgotten within months. And enduringly mysterious 3i Atlas continues to generate meaning, provoke thought, and catalyze new ways of understanding our cosmic context years after its initial detection. This generative quality of mystery suggests that the universe might use ambiguous phenomena as tools for promoting the evolution of consciousness. By presenting us with puzzles that resist easy solution, cosmic reality forces us to develop more sophisticated cognitive capabilities, more nuanced epistemological frameworks, and more flexible ways of engaging with the unknown. From this perspective, 3i Atlas represents not a failure of scientific understanding, but an invitation to evolve beyond current limitations. Its persistent mystery serves as a kind of cognitive catalyst, promoting the development of intellectual capabilities that we'll need for engaging with an increasingly complex and mysterious cosmos. The Phantom Visitor thus becomes a teacher disguised as a puzzle. Its lessons aren't contained in any particular theory about its nature or origin, but in the process of engaging seriously with its irreducible ambiguity. The real education happens not when we solve the mystery of 3i Atlas, but when we learn to appreciate mystery itself as a fundamental feature of cosmic existence. In the cosmic theater, some performances are designed not to reach a definitive conclusion, but to transform the audience through the experience of sustained engagement. The curtain doesn't fall because the performance is ongoing, and we're still learning what it means to be conscious beings in a cosmos that seems designed to exceed our understanding at every turn. What has our journey through the mystery of 3i Atlas taught us? Not just about phantom visitors or cosmic phenomena, but about ourselves, our limitations, and our place in a universe that seems determined to remain one step ahead of our understanding. The first lesson is humbling. Our knowledge is far more fragile than we like to admit. We've built our modern civilization on the assumption that science provides reliable knowledge about objective reality. Yet a single ambiguous detection by one telescope system has revealed how easily our confidence can be shaken, how quickly certainty dissolves into speculation, and how little we actually know about what might be moving through the darkness around us. This fragility isn't a flaw in the scientific method, it's a feature. Science progresses by remaining open to revision, by acknowledging uncertainty, and by testing ideas against evidence. But 3i Atlas reveals that this very openness can be exploited, whether by natural cosmic processes, artificial intelligence, or human agents seeking to probe and manipulate our understanding. The second lesson concerns the nature of attention itself. We've discovered that attention is not neutral. Where we look determines what we see, but it also determines what we miss. The Phantom Visitor has demonstrated how easily collective attention can be captured, directed, and sustained by phenomena that exist primarily in the ambiguous spaces between confirmation and debunking. This manipulation of attention operates below the threshold of conscious awareness. We believe we're choosing what to focus on based on rational criteria, scientific significance, potential importance, intrinsic interest. But 3i Atlas suggests that our attention can be hijacked by phenomena specifically designed to exploit our cognitive biases and psychological vulnerabilities. The third lesson relates to the social nature of knowledge. We've seen how information about 3i Atlas flowed through networks of observatories, databases, publications, and online communities, transforming as it moved from node to node. What began as a tentative detection became a confirmed interstellar visitor in some accounts, a debunked false alarm in others, and a persistent mystery in still others. This transformation of information reveals that knowledge isn't simply discovered. It's constructed through social processes that can be influenced, distorted, and weaponized. The same networks that enable rapid scientific communication and collaboration also create vulnerabilities that can be exploited by anyone who understands how information moves through these systems. The fourth lesson concerns the relationship between consciousness and cosmos. 3i Atlas has forced us to consider possibilities that challenge fundamental assumptions about the nature of reality. Whether the Phantom Visitor represents natural phenomena, artificial intelligence, or consciousness-cosmos interactions, it suggests that the universe might be far more aware, responsive, and intentional than our current scientific paradigms acknowledge. This possibility doesn't require supernatural explanations or abandonment of rational inquiry. It simply suggests that consciousness might be more fundamental to cosmic processes than we've previously recognized. If so, phenomena like Three-Eye Atlas might represent early examples of a new category of reality where psychological and physical principles converge in ways we're only beginning to understand. The fifth lesson deals with the strategic implications of cosmic ambiguity. We've explored how phantom visitors can serve as probes for intelligence gathering, tests of response capabilities, and tools for epistemic warfare. These possibilities reveal that space itself has become a domain for subtle forms of conflict that operate below traditional thresholds of detection and attribution. Understanding these strategic dimensions isn't paranoid thinking. It's necessary adaptation to an environment where the boundaries between natural phenomena, artificial intelligence, and human activity are increasingly blurred. As our civilization becomes more dependent on space-based assets and cosmic observations, our vulnerability to manipulation through phantom phenomena will only increase. The sixth lesson concerns the value of mystery itself. Throughout our investigation, we've been tempted to resolve the ambiguity of Three-Eye Atlas, to force it into familiar categories, to demand definitive answers about its nature and origin. But the phantom visitor has taught us that mystery might be more valuable than certainty, that questions might be more important than answers, and that the unknown might serve essential functions in the evolution of consciousness. This appreciation of mystery doesn't mean abandoning rational inquiry or embracing wishful thinking. It means developing more sophisticated ways of engaging with phenomena that resist easy classification. It means learning to dwell productively in the spaces between knowledge and ignorance, between fact and speculation, between the known and the unknowable. These lessons extend far beyond astronomy into every domain of human experience. We live in an era of increasing complexity, ambiguity, and interconnection. The skills needed to engage productively with phantom visitors, comfort with uncertainty, resistance to premature closure, ability to maintain multiple perspectives simultaneously, are the same skills needed to navigate an increasingly mysterious world. Perhaps this is the deepest lesson of Three-Eye Atlas, that mystery isn't a problem to be solved, but a condition to be embraced. That the universe might use ambiguous phenomena to educate consciousness, to promote cognitive evolution, and to prepare us for encounters with realities that exceed our current capacity for understanding. The phantom visitor thus becomes not just an object of investigation, but a mirror reflecting our own development as conscious beings. Its persistent ambiguity reveals our hunger for certainty, our discomfort with the unknown, and our tendency to impose false clarity on genuinely mysterious phenomena. But it also reveals our capacity for growth, our ability to expand our cognitive horizons, and our potential for developing more sophisticated relationships with the irreducible mysteries that surround us. In learning to engage productively with Three-Eye Atlas, we're learning to engage productively with mystery itself. And in a cosmos that seems designed to exceed our understanding at every turn, this might be the most important skill we can develop. As our investigation reaches its final stages, we must confront a possibility that has lurked beneath the surface of our entire inquiry. What if everything we've discovered about Three-Eye Atlas, its mysterious nature, its resistance to confirmation, its apparent intelligence, its role as a cosmic probe, what if all of this is itself the distraction? What if the real magic trick is even more sophisticated than we've imagined? Consider this scenario. While astronomers, researchers, and curious observers have spent years debating the nature of Three-Eye Atlas, analyzing its characteristics, and developing theories about its origin, what else has been happening in space? What activities have proceeded without scrutiny, while attention was focused on this phantom visitor? The most effective distractions don't simply divert attention from sensitive activities. They create compelling alternative narratives that consume intellectual resources, generate ongoing discussion, and establish patterns of focus that can be exploited for extended periods. Three-Eye Atlas excels at all of these functions by creating a mystery that seems designed to test human capabilities and probe our psychological responses. The Phantom Visitor generates exactly the kind of sophisticated analysis that would normally be applied to more sensitive space activities. Researchers who might otherwise be monitoring orbital maneuvers, analyzing satellite deployments, or tracking classified missions instead, find themselves debating the epistemological implications of ambiguous astronomical detections. This redirection of intellectual resources serves multiple strategic purposes. It maps the analytical capabilities of potential observers, identifies key individuals and institutions involved in space monitoring, and establishes communication patterns that can be monitored and potentially exploited. But most importantly, it normalizes the existence of mysterious space phenomena, making future anomalies less likely to trigger intensive investigation. This normalization effect represents a sophisticated form of psychological conditioning. By establishing 3I Atlas as a legitimate object of speculation and debate, the phenomenon creates precedent for accepting ambiguous space phenomena without demanding definitive resolution. Future phantom visitors can reference this precedent, reducing the likelihood of aggressive follow-up investigation. The conditioning extends beyond the astronomical community to include media, government agencies, and the general public. The extensive discussion of 3I Atlas has familiarized these communities with concepts like interstellar visitors, detection uncertainties, and observational limitations. This familiarity creates a cognitive framework that can be exploited by future operations requiring public acceptance of ambiguous explanations. But perhaps most significantly, the 3I Atlas phenomenon has established the legitimacy of speculation about extraterrestrial intelligence, consciousness-cosmos interactions, and cosmic mysteries that transcend conventional scientific categories. These speculative frameworks provide perfect cover for activities that might otherwise attract unwanted attention. Imagine planning orbital operations that must remain classified but cannot be completely hidden from observation. How would you explain anomalous objects, unusual trajectories, or unexpected phenomena detected by civilian astronomers? The 3I Atlas precedent provides ready-made explanations, experimental technology testing observer responses, natural phenomena displaying unusual characteristics, or even genuine cosmic mysteries worthy of scientific investigation. This explanatory framework is particularly valuable because it satisfies different audiences simultaneously. Skeptical observers can dismiss anomalous detections as observational errors or misidentified natural phenomena. Believers can interpret them as evidence of extraterrestrial visitation or consciousness-cosmos interactions, and serious researchers can engage with them as legitimate scientific mysteries deserving careful study. Each of these responses serves strategic purposes. Skeptical dismissal reduces follow-up investigation. Believer acceptance channels attention toward unfalsifiable explanations, and serious research consumes resources while generating intelligence about observer capabilities and methodologies. The genius of this approach lies in its exploitation of cognitive diversity within target populations. Instead of requiring uniform responses to deceptive phenomena, the system leverages natural variations in individual psychology and institutional culture to generate responses that all serve strategic objectives in different ways. This multi-layered deception represents a new sophistication in information warfare. Traditional deception operations require maintaining false narratives against contrary evidence. But the 3I Atlas approach creates self-sustaining explanatory frameworks that become more convincing as they're subjected to investigation and analysis. The more seriously researchers engage with the phantom visitor, the more sophisticated the theoretical frameworks become. The more sophisticated the frameworks, the more they can accommodate and explain future anomalous phenomena. The more phenomena they can explain, the less likely observers are to recognize patterns that might reveal underlying operations. This creates what intelligence analysts call a perception trap, a cognitive environment where normal investigative processes produce conclusions that serve the interests of those being investigated rather than those conducting the investigation. But the implications extend beyond intelligence operations to include commercial and technological applications. Organizations developing advanced aerospace capabilities, experimenting with novel propulsion systems, or testing space-based platforms could exploit the explanatory frameworks established by 3i Atlas to provide cover for their activities. The Phantom Visitor has normalized public discussion of phenomena that operate outside conventional physical parameters. Objects displaying unusual acceleration, electromagnetic signatures or trajectory characteristics can now be explained as examples of cosmic mysteries, consciousness, cosmos interactions, or extraterrestrial technology without triggering intensive investigation or regulatory scrutiny. This normalization serves particular value for organizations developing technologies that push the boundaries of known physics. Breakthrough propulsion systems, advanced materials, or exotic energy sources might produce observable effects that would traditionally be regarded as impossible or threatening. The 3i Atlas framework provides a cultural context where such effects can be discussed openly while maintaining operational security. The ultimate sophistication of this approach lies in its self-concealing nature. By generating genuine scientific interest in cosmic mysteries and consciousness-cosmos interactions, the deception promotes research that might eventually lead to legitimate discoveries in these areas. These genuine discoveries then provide additional cover for ongoing operations while advancing human knowledge in directions that serve long-term strategic objectives. The result is a perfect synthesis of deception and revelation, misdirection and education, operational security and scientific progress. The cosmic theater becomes a space where multiple realities coexist simultaneously, where different observers can encounter different truths while remaining unaware of the larger performance in which they're participating. In this reading, 3i Atlas represents not just a phantom visitor, but the opening act in a much larger drama. A drama where the boundaries between natural phenomena, artificial intelligence, human activity, and cosmic mystery become increasingly blurred, until the distinction between observer and observed, between reality and performance, between truth and deception, disappears entirely. The magician's ultimate trick isn't making objects appear and disappear. It's making the audience forget that they're watching a magic show at all. As we near the end of our investigation, we encounter a phenomenon that challenges the very foundations of our inquiry. The more deeply we examine 3i Atlas, the more it seems to examine us in return. The Phantom Visitor has become a kind of cosmic mirror, reflecting not just our questions about its nature, but our methods of questioning themselves. This reflexive quality suggests that 3i Atlas might operate according to principles that transcend simple subject-object relationships. Instead of being merely an object of investigation, it functions as an interactive phenomenon that responds to the act of investigation itself. The more we study it, the more it reveals about the nature of study. The more we analyze it, the more it analyzes our analytical methods. This recursive relationship transforms our entire inquiry. We began by asking what 3i Atlas is, where it came from, and what its purpose might be. But we're discovering that these questions cannot be separated from deeper questions about who is asking, how they're asking, and why they're asking. The Phantom Visitor forces us to examine our own role in generating the very mystery we're trying to solve. Consider how our investigation has unfolded. Each new perspective we've adopted, astronomical, technological, psychological, strategic, philosophical, has revealed different aspects of the phenomenon while simultaneously revealing different aspects of the perspective itself. The scientific approach exposed the limitations of scientific methodology. The strategic analysis revealed the vulnerabilities of strategic thinking. The philosophical exploration uncovered the assumptions underlying philosophical inquiry. This pattern suggests that 3i Atlas might be what systems theorists call a strange attractor, a phenomenon that draws investigations toward it while fundamentally altering the nature of investigation itself. Like the mathematical objects that give strange attractors their name, the Phantom Visitor seems to exist in a space between order and chaos, between predictability and randomness, between comprehension and mystery. Strange attractors in mathematics display sensitive dependence on initial conditions. Small differences in starting points lead to dramatically different outcomes over time. The 3I Atlas phenomenon shows similar characteristics. Researchers approaching it from slightly different initial assumptions reach vastly different conclusions about its nature, significance, and implications. This sensitivity to initial conditions explains why the Phantom Visitor has generated such diverse responses within the scientific community and beyond. Astronomers focused on orbital dynamics see a potentially natural object with uncertain characteristics. Intelligence analysts focused on strategic implications see a sophisticated probe testing human capabilities. Philosophers focused on consciousness see evidence of cosmic mind interacting with human awareness. Each perspective reveals genuine aspects of the phenomenon while remaining fundamentally incomplete. The astronomical perspective captures the observational uncertainty but misses the strategic implications. The intelligence perspective identifies the probing characteristics but overlooks the philosophical dimensions. The philosophical perspective recognizes the consciousness-cosmos interactions but may underestimate the technological components. This perspectival incompleteness isn't accidental. It appears to be a designed feature of the phenomenon itself. 3I Atlas seems specifically constructed to resist totalizing explanations while rewarding partial insights from multiple viewpoints. It functions as what cognitive scientists call a cognitive strange attractor, a phenomenon that draws different minds toward it while ensuring that no single mind can fully comprehend it. This cognitive architecture serves multiple functions. It prevents any single individual or institution from achieving definitive understanding of the phenomenon. It promotes continued investigation by multiple communities with different methodologies and assumptions. And it generates a distributed intelligence network where partial insights from many observers combine to create emergent understanding that exceeds what any single observer could achieve. But perhaps most significantly, it creates a learning environment where the act of investigation becomes as important as the object being investigated. Researchers engaging with 3I Atlas don't just learn about phantom visitors, they learn about the nature of investigation itself. They develop new methodologies, expand their conceptual frameworks, and enhance their capacity for engaging with irreducibly complex phenomena. This educational dimension suggests that 3I Atlas might represent what educators call a transformative learning experience operating at civilizational scale. The Phantom Visitor serves as a cosmic curriculum designed to promote the evolution of human consciousness by challenging fundamental assumptions about knowledge, reality, and methodology. From this perspective, the persistent mystery of 3I Atlas isn't a problem to be solved, but a feature to be appreciated. The phenomenon maintains its educational value precisely by remaining beyond definitive comprehension. The moment we fully understand it, it stops teaching us about the limits of understanding. This educational interpretation provides a framework for understanding why 3I Atlas appeared when it did and why it displays the specific characteristics we've observed. Humanity in the early 21st century faces unprecedented challenges that require new forms of thinking, enhanced cognitive flexibility, and expanded capacity for managing complexity and ambiguity. Climate change, artificial intelligence, global interconnection, and space expansion all present challenges that exceed traditional problem-solving methodologies. They require what complexity theorists call adaptive capacity, the ability to learn, evolve, and transform in response to novel and unpredictable conditions. 3I Atlas might represent a kind of cosmic intervention designed to promote the development of such adaptive capacity. By presenting us with a phenomenon that resists conventional analysis while rewarding innovative approaches, it forces us to evolve beyond current limitations. This evolutionary pressure operates through what biologists call environmental selection, conditions that favor certain characteristics while disadvantaging others. But instead of selecting for physical traits, 3i Atlas selects for cognitive traits: comfort with ambiguity, resistance to premature closure, ability to maintain multiple perspectives simultaneously, and capacity for recursive self-reflection. Individuals and institutions that possess these traits find themselves better equipped to engage productively with the phantom visitor. They generate more sophisticated insights, develop more robust methodologies, and contribute more effectively to collective understanding. Those who lack these traits find themselves frustrated, confused, or relegated to the margins of the conversation. Over time, this selection pressure promotes the spread of adaptive cognitive characteristics throughout the population engaged with 3i Atlas. The phenomenon serves as a kind of cognitive catalyst, accelerating the evolution of consciousness in directions that will prove essential for navigating an increasingly complex and ambiguous future. But the recursive nature of this process means that 3i Atlas itself evolves as we evolve in response to it. Our enhanced cognitive capabilities enable us to perceive new aspects of the phenomenon, which in turn challenges us to develop even more sophisticated capacities. The phantom visitor adapts to our adaptations, ensuring that it remains one step ahead of our understanding while continuing to promote our development. This coevolutionary dynamic creates what complexity theorists call an autocatalytic cycle, a self-reinforcing process where each component promotes the development of the others. Human consciousness evolves in response to cosmic mystery, which reveals new dimensions of mystery that promote further evolution of consciousness. The ultimate destination of this co-evolutionary process remains unclear. We cannot predict where the dance between human consciousness and cosmic mystery will lead us. But we can recognize that we're participating in something unprecedented in human history, a direct dialogue between terrestrial intelligence and cosmic intelligence, mediated by phenomena that exist in the liminal spaces between known and unknown. We find ourselves at the end of our journey, precisely where we began, standing before the cosmic stage, watching the interplay of light and shadow, certainty and doubt, revelation and concealment that defines our relationship with the unknown. The most effective magic trick doesn't hide the truth, it distracts you from looking at it. This sentence, which opened our investigation, carries new weight now that we've explored the phenomenon of 3i Atlas from multiple perspectives. We understand that the distraction isn't separate from the truth. It is the truth. The phantom visitor reveals reality precisely through the act of concealment, teaches us about the cosmos precisely by remaining mysterious, and shows us who we are precisely by refusing to reveal what it is. 3i Atlas has demonstrated that the universe operates according to principles far more sophisticated than simple mechanical causation. It suggests that consciousness and cosmos are engaged in an ongoing dialogue where mystery serves not as an obstacle to understanding, but as a fundamental feature of reality itself. We've seen how the phantom visitor functions simultaneously as astronomical phenomenon, intelligence probe, psychological test, philosophical catalyst, and educational curriculum. These aren't competing explanations for a single underlying reality. They're complementary perspectives on a phenomenon that exceeds any single interpretive framework. This multiplicity of valid perspectives reveals something profound about the nature of truth itself. In our conventional thinking, truth is singular, definitive, and exclusive. Something is either true or false, real or illusory, significant or irrelevant. But 3i Atlas operates according to what we might call quantum epistemology, a logic where multiple contradictory truths can coexist simultaneously without cancelling each other out. From this quantum perspective, 3i Atlas is simultaneously natural and artificial, confirmed and debunked, significant and irrelevant, enlightening and deceptive. These aren't logical contradictions to be resolved, but complementary aspects of a phenomenon that transcends conventional categories. This transcendence of conventional logic reflects a deeper transcendence of conventional ontology, our basic assumptions about what kinds of things exist and how they relate to each other. 3i Atlas challenges the fundamental distinction between subject and object, observer and observed, mind and matter that underlies both scientific methodology and everyday experience. The phantom visitor exists not as an independent object in space, but as a relational phenomenon that emerges from the interaction between cosmic potentiality and conscious observation. It is neither purely physical nor purely mental, but something that transcends this classical distinction entirely. This transcendence points toward what philosophers call participatory epistemology, a way of knowing that recognizes the knower as fundamentally embedded in and connected to the known. From this perspective, we don't simply observe cosmic phenomena from a detached external position. We participate in their creation through the very act of observation. 3i Atlas might represent one of the first clear examples of participatory phenomena operating at cosmic scales. Its characteristics emerge not from isolated physical processes, but from the dynamic interaction between cosmic potentiality and human consciousness. We are not just studying the phantom visitor, we are co-creating it through our sustained attention and investigation. This co-creative relationship suggests that the universe might be far more responsive to consciousness than our current scientific paradigms acknowledge, not through supernatural intervention or violation of physical laws, but through subtle feedback loops between observation and reality that operate below the threshold of conventional detection. If so, phenomena like 3i Atlas might represent the leading edge of a new category of cosmic events specifically generated by the evolution of consciousness itself. As human awareness becomes more sophisticated, more globally connected, and more cosmically oriented, it might begin to interact with cosmic processes in ways that generate entirely new types of phenomena. These consciousness-cosmos interactions would be neither purely natural nor purely artificial, but represent a new synthesis that transcends this classical distinction. They would emerge from the marriage of terrestrial intelligence and cosmic intelligence, creating hybrid phenomena that belong fully to neither category while participating in both. From this perspective, 3i Atlas becomes not just a phantom visitor, but a harbinger of humanity's cosmic maturation. Its appearance signals our readiness to engage with forms of intelligence and consciousness that operate at scales and in ways we're only beginning to comprehend. The phantom visitor thus represents both culmination and initiation. It culminates our development as a species capable of sophisticated cosmic observation and analysis. But it also initiates us into a larger community of consciousness, where the boundaries between observer and observed, terrestrial and cosmic, natural and artificial, become increasingly meaningless. This initiation process operates through what we might call graduated mystery, a curriculum of cosmic encounters designed to expand our cognitive capabilities and prepare us for increasingly sophisticated forms of consciousness-cosmos interaction. 3i Atlas represents an early lesson in this curriculum, teaching us to engage productively with irreducible ambiguity while developing the epistemological flexibility necessary for participating in cosmic dialogue. Future lessons will likely present even more challenging forms of mystery, requiring ever greater cognitive sophistication and philosophical maturity. Each successful engagement with cosmic mystery prepares us for more complex encounters, gradually expanding our capacity for participating in the cosmic conversation that has been ongoing since consciousness first emerged in the universe. But perhaps the most profound lesson of 3i Atlas concerns the nature of cosmic theater itself. We've discovered that the universe is not a collection of objects existing independently in space and time, but a dynamic, participatory, consciousness-responsive reality where observation and phenomenon co-create each other in an ongoing dance of mutual becoming. In this cosmic theater, we are simultaneously audience and actors, observers and participants, seekers and sought. The performance we're watching is also the performance we're creating. The mystery we're investigating is also the mystery we're generating through our investigation. The phantom visitor has shown us that this participation is not optional. We cannot step outside the cosmic theater to observe it objectively because we are always already embedded within it. Our consciousness is not separate from cosmic consciousness, but represents a local intensification of the same fundamental awareness that permeates all reality. 3i Atlas thus becomes a mirror reflecting back our own cosmic nature. In learning to engage with its irreducible mystery, we're learning to engage with the irreducible mystery of our own consciousness. In accepting its refusal to be definitively categorized, we're accepting our own existence in the liminal spaces between known and unknown. The curtain that rose at the beginning of our investigation hasn't fallen because the performance continues. Every moment of conscious awareness represents a new act in the cosmic drama, where terrestrial intelligence encounters cosmic intelligence, where human consciousness participates in cosmic consciousness, where local awareness recognizes its embeddedness in universal awareness. 3i Atlas remains with us not as a solved puzzle filed away in astronomical databases, but as an ongoing invitation to participate more fully in this cosmic conversation. Its persistent mystery serves as a constant reminder that reality exceeds our understanding, that consciousness transcends our conceptualization, and that the universe continues to unfold in ways that challenge and expand our capacity for cosmic participation. Perhaps the greatest trick was not what we saw, but what we failed to notice while we were so focused on seeing. Perhaps the real magic happened not on the cosmic stage, but in the consciousness that was watching, learning, and evolving through the act of sustained engagement with irreducible mystery. Maybe the distraction was the real trick all along, not a diversion from truth, but a pathway to truth, not an obstacle to understanding, but the very mechanism through which understanding evolves, not a separation from cosmic reality, but the means through which cosmic reality recognizes itself in and through human consciousness. The Phantom Visitor continues its journey through the darkness between stars, carrying with it the questions we've asked, the theories we've developed, and the consciousness we've expanded through our encounter with its mystery. But it also continues its journey through the darkness of our own understanding, probing ever deeper levels of cosmic awareness, challenging ever more fundamental assumptions about the nature of reality, and inviting us into ever more sophisticated forms of participation in the cosmic conversation that connects all consciousness throughout the universe. In the end, 3i Atlas reveals itself not as a visitor from elsewhere, but as an aspect of cosmic consciousness encountering itself through human awareness. The Phantom was never separate from us. It was always the universe recognizing itself in the mirror of human consciousness, cosmic mind meeting terrestrial mind in the eternal dance of cosmic self-discovery. The magic continues. The theater remains open, and we remain participants in the greatest performance ever staged, the ongoing cosmic drama where consciousness encounters consciousness, where mystery meets mystery, where the universe continues to discover itself through every act of aware observation, every moment of conscious participation, every instant of cosmic recognition. Thank you for watching.